Hey guys, Abby from Motor City Nerds here, and we're going to talk about House of the Dragon, Episode 4. I really liked this. I really liked the juxtaposition between showing Alicent and showing Rhaenyra, and showing how they both have their... I like how you can't even see my hair now, it's so dark. Because everyone keeps saying that I hate Targaryens. I'm like, I don't hate Targaryens, man. I'll prove it. I'm just saying. But we open up with the proposals, and her kind of... This really shows, like, okay, the way you're handling yourself in these situations can really affect things down the road, like, and politically, and you're really not taking it that serious. When you just, like, outright are smack-talking this guy for being old, like, it's one thing to be like, okay, I decline this. It's another to do what she's doing, and we even see that happen. And I liked that kid getting called a punk and him stepping to that guy and killing him, but it's, like, politically, that might be a problem down the road. We hear Baratheon say to her, who's like acting as consort, and he's saying, the kid who comes up, these are the Blackwoods, they have a huge army, this would be smart, and she's like, and now you send me a kid. Like, being disrespectful like this is not a good idea. And then, like I said, we end up with somebody getting killed, so then it's like, you think that house isn't going to be a little pissed off about one of their heirs not coming home. We start to see Rhaenyra and Sir Criston Cole get closer. He's obviously going on these campaigns with her. And the second we started getting on the boat, I was like, oh no, we're going to get a dragon. Just which one? And then when it was Caraxes, I'm like, oh, I don't think that she was happy romantically about her uncle being home. But I definitely think she was like, he's alone. Like, there's no fleet. There's no military. This isn't a hostile thing. And Uncle Daemon's here. I also kind of think she likes knowing somebody's there to put her dad in check. This is what I've been telling you guys, though. This entire episode was Daemon being a master of PR. He knows exactly how things look. And I loved when he's going into the throne room, you can hear the people whispering. You can hear the lords and ladies whispering, oh, Daemon, oh, did you hear this? You can hear them whispering in the background, and I really loved that. The scene of Rhaenyra and him both walking as she's walking through the crowd, and he's walking up the center at the same time through the throne room was such a cool shot. That was awesome. But he knows exactly what he's doing, and he knows exactly how to hold himself and how people are going to leave and discuss this, and then that's exactly what happens. I mean, it's definitely more gears are turning and people are being told to go rat out Rhaenyra, but the entire episode was him going, first she has her hair covered up, and then when he takes the hat off her, he's like, no, I want people to see you and for it to get back. He knows how things look. I think this is the first time in the show where I've actually really... The music playing while Daemon's walking into the throne room is almost identical to the Mother of Dragons from that soundtrack, so like Dany's original music. And I really like the way they used it. When he throws the hammer to his brother and says, add it to the chair. Like I said, he knows exactly how all of this looks. Notice the king looks over at Otto Hightower. Otto Hightower's looking at the king like, I don't know, maybe accept it. And the whole time I'm going, hug him, hug him, hug him, because it's going to look like unity between them. If they would have fought, everybody would leave going, oh, they are divisive, and that means they're weak. But because they're coming together like this, that shows strength. But when Daemon kneels down and then is looking over at Otto Hightower, like, you think I can't play this game just as good as you? I loved that. And I don't know if this episode was trying to make me feel bad for Otto Hightower, but I do not. I like that we see Viserys and Daemon, like, you can tell that they're being brothers, and they're after it, and they're having their little party. He's like, oh no, Mom loved you more, and this and that, and we see them doing that, and I like it. And then you definitely see Alicent Hightower trying to say things, and Viserys kind of putting her down. Like, he doesn't care about stuff like that, but I felt more like they were just having a good time being brothers, and then she's trying to insert herself, and still, it was rude for Viserys to do that, but I think she was trying to be like, okay. And I like that Rhaenyra is, like, backing her friend up. She's like, I want to look at the tapestries, and then she realizes, like, not with you, but her idea isn't stupid, and I don't want you to get put down. So I felt like I really liked that scene and the scenes between her and Rhaenyra. I know that I call the Hightowers dirty, sneaky rats, and I think they are, but I do feel for this Alicent Hightower, and you should. I really love that Daemon said that he essentially pulled a Dracula on them. Like, he pulled a Vlad the Impaler, and he said, well, who's in the Stepstones? And he's like, a bunch of their people hammered to spikes. He did the same thing the Crab Feeder was doing, but to them. And I'm like, so he flip-flopped. That's what Vlad the Impaler did. If you didn't know that, that's what Dracula did. Vlad the Impaler was taught by the Turks how to do that and how to scare off your enemies. And then when they came for him, he did it back to them to be like, see, Told you so. Maybe you shouldn't have taught me this. I'm ready to fight you. I haven't been watching those after the show things. I haven't been watching anybody else covering this, so I don't know if this is true or not. I want to look more into it, but I've been talking about the costuming a lot and how Daemon is always in this bright red and this bright black. He knows exactly what he is. Are you a sheep? No, you're a dragon. Be a dragon. So we see that from Daemon, and now that Rhaenyra is kind of like, I don't want to say she's submitting to the patriarchy of everything, but she's kind of not fighting as hard anymore, and we do know that almost 4 years have passed, but I think that's what they said. But either way, she's kind of more docile and not really, until the end of the episode, as being at Rhaenyra-ish as she's being lippy and stuff, but she's not being like outright defiant until later on. But if you notice, for the first half of the episode, she's in very different color patterns, and Alicent Hightower is now in black and red, and King Viserys is almost in complete black the entire episode. I just think that's a really good depiction of showing like how he keeps referring to it like the dragon blood. I'm talking about it like they do in the books with the wolf's blood, and Ned says Arya had it. My brother Brendan had it. Lyanna had it. It's the wolf's blood. It's very similar to that, where it's like they just have this. They know what they are, but this time we're dragon riders, and they know what they are. They don't deny what they are. But right now, Rhaenyra is denying what she is, like Daemon tells her later on, where people take what they want. I will take what is mine with fire and blood. Like Rhaenyra's kind of stopped taking until later on, so now she's in a different color pattern. Alicent Hightower has stepped up to going, I know how I look, and I know what position I'm in. The king keeps denying like dragons and stuff and isn't really about that. He's more like obsessed with the prophecy. And Daemon and Rhaenyra are the ones who are dragon riders. They know what they are and they don't deny what they are. And I just think that's a really cool way to show it through the costuming. And I mean, it's always beautiful, but I think there's something to that. When Alicent Hightower and Rhaenyra are talking, and I don't think Rhaenyra was trying to be mean when she was like, what? So I can be stuck in a castle cranking out kids, and then realizes like, oh my God, that's what you're doing type deal. I don't think she was trying to be mean. I think she finally realized like, oh, we have common ground here now. Rhaenyra even asks her, is he mad? Like there's still some type of relationship here, but it's like when you have a falling out with your best friend, except extreme, you know what I mean? And I do, when Alicent says, I have very few friends, I'm glad that you're back. Like, obviously there's still, we might not be besties, but I'd rather have you around than not have you around going on there, and I really liked their back and forth. The way they're using High Valyrian, I love it, and I loved the scene between, and now, like I said, I don't think there would be a werewood in King's Landing. I think those all got ripped out, but either way, it's making for a beautiful backdrop. I don't mind it, but the High Valyrian between Daemon and Rhaenyra when they're talking speaks volumes. I really love it. Daemon telling her, it's just a political arrangement. You can do whatever you want. That's what I kept saying to my mom when we first started the episode. I was like, why is nobody just saying, like, we do what we want? That's one of the best lines Jaime Lannister has, is when he's talking to Tommen, not Baratheon, but he's talking to Tommen and says, not when you're sitting in that chair. You don't have to answer to nobody. I kept waiting for somebody to say that. I was like, why are we all acting like this? Like, Viserys, get a backbone. And I do feel like in this episode, he finally did. So they're back and forth, talking about getting married. You can still do what you want. Like, you can get married. It's just a political arrangement, and then you can do whatever you want. I do think he meant it when he said, what happened to your mom was a tragedy. Like, I think that this Queen Emma was really loved. When Rhaenyra said, for a man, it's a political arrangement. For a woman, it's a death sentence. And then when she talks about, my mom was killed because dad kept trying to pump out heirs and she couldn't do it, and I'm not going to let that happen to me. The small council meeting, they start talking about Corlys is about to marry his daughter to somebody in the Free Cities, and we can't have that happen. Like I said, the reason they're so scared of that, and the reason that Corlys Velaryon is not afraid of the East, is because he has so much money, he's not afraid of the Iron Bank. Corlys Velaryon has more money than all of them. He's like Tywin Lannister times a million. He's not afraid of the Iron Bank in the East. The rest of the council is. So Corlys marrying his daughter to somebody over there would cause huge ramifications. From this point in the episode, I love the juxtaposition between Rhaenyra and Alicent. We have the baby crying, and Alicent she's alone with the baby, just looking around, and then we have Rhaenyra walking to her room doing whatever. And I loved this, because if you've been around on the channel and you've watched my other reviews, they are nodding a lot of things about, like, they're comparing Maegor the Cruel a lot to Daemon. And Daemon was already lurking about in the council chambers. He's been using the secret ways in the Red Keep a lot. And so the second she had that letter and those clothes, I was like, no, it's Daemon. It's Daemon. It's Daemon. It's Daemon. Because at first I thought she might be going to meet up with Sir Criston Cole, and he was just being like, oh, hey, princess, when she walked through the door. But then I was like, no, they keep comparing Daemon to Maegor the Cruel. It's got to be him. Maegor the Cruel built the Red Keep, and he was the only one to ever know all the secret tunnels and all the secret stuff. To this day, in the book series, we don't know all the secret places in the Red Keep because Maegor the Cruel had it built and then told all the people that worked on it, hey, come to this feast, and killed them all. So nobody knows all the secrets. But they do do a lot of comparisons in the show of Maegor the Cruel to Daemon. So I was just like, I love that little nod. It's a really cool scene, but I just love that because it's just, I like that a lot. First things first, as a Targaryen, cover up that hair. You can't have people seeing that white hair. That's going to be a dead giveaway. So, first thing they go to, a show, a puppet show about, now this would be like someone going on to social media today or whatever. It's how the people are viewing something, and we get to find out that they don't like Rhaenyra very much, and they would much rather have a man. And Daemon is very aware of what he is taking her to. They call Daemon Lord Fleabottom. Fleabottom is the poorest part of the city. People know him. That's why they love him so much. He ran the Gold Cloaks. He's around the common folk a lot, and they like him for that. Now, Lord Fleabottom, and they get, the council doesn't like that. They don't like that Daemon is tight with the common folk. They're not about that. He knows that there's power in the words that they wield, and that's why he wants Rhaenyra to know what the deal is. And notice how he keeps her a secret until he doesn't want to keep her a secret anymore. Rhaenyra first gets to the city, and she's covered up. When that guy calls her a little boy, she's so excited. She looks at Daemon, she's like, he called me a boy. Like, they thought I was a boy. Like, and it's sad, and I like that little touch. And then she snatches the whatever and runs off and runs into a knight who knows who she is. I thought that was going to be the one who gave her away, which it still could partially be. But he was really going to do something to her until Daemon showed up. I was like, oh no. Like, but it just goes to show you, like, you ain't in your big castle. You're not protected. But I do think she liked that little bit of a thrill because she finally, it's like when Jasmine leaves the palace in Aladdin. So we have Rhaenyra saying it doesn't matter what these people say, and he goes, it does matter if you want to rule. Like I said, Daemon is a master of PR. He knows that the mob is Rome, and win the mob and you'll win Rome. He knows that is important, and he wants her to see, like, this is how you're being viewed. You're being viewed as weak. So as Rhaenyra is running around having this, like, adventure of a night at first, we keep going back to showing Alicent, and what is she doing? Bathing the old king. We still see sores all over him. And that was the first thing I said when they showed all those people in there. I was like, get them the hell out. Why are you allowing them to see the king in this condition? You don't allow that. And I like that Alicent was and is being a good wife and is like, all of you out, I'll do it. I liked that. We have Rhaenyra going into the pleasure house and seeing all of this for the first time, and we'll get to her and Daemon, but then we have Alicent Hightower, who gets summoned like a dog from a servant in the middle of the night at a knock at her door when she's like, and then we show how she is having sex with the king, and then we show what Rhaenyra is doing with Daemon, and they going back and forth. I thought that was really smart. Now, I want to know what you guys think about this. Either Daemon has issues with getting it up, right? And that's what pisses him off. Or I don't think Daemon likes having emotions, and I think he realized, like, I actually care about you, and I'm using you in this plot. Because the second he pulled off the hat covering her hair, I was like, oh, everybody's going to see it. All the common folk are going to see it. This is all the word is going to get around. But then we had a literal spy run back and tell Otto Hightower about it, which we end up finding out Daemon's girlfriend paid to do. Now, I want to know, did she orchestrate this? Because he says that. He goes, you weren't ever one to stay idle. Or did Daemon fully plan that and he was involved too? I'm assuming that he was. Now, in the pleasure house, we hear Daemon say, being married doesn't mean nothing. It's political. We take what we want. We fuck who we want. We do what we want. So we have Daemon and Rhaenyra going in. That's how I took it. I took it as, like, Daemon realized, like, okay, I needed to do it this far for this plan to work and for it to look a certain kind of way, but I didn't think I was going to end up feeling that strongly about it, whether that's I care about you because you're my family or romantically. But yeah, and then Alicent Hightower calling it weird is nobody thought it was weird back then. So I'm very interested. What do you think about Daemon punching the wall and running off? Do you think it was he realized I'm involving my niece that I care about in this plotty scheme and what I'm about to do to her reputation, or that he has issues getting it up, or that he has I don't know what. Tell me what you think. But yeah, keep seeing this Alicent Hightower and then the juxtaposition of what Rhaenyra is doing. And then Rhaenyra choosing to let Sir Criston come in and be all flirty and nice with him. And we get to see somebody not be brutalized in this world. And I thought that was nice. But she chooses how she wants to do this. And she also gets satisfaction out of it where Alicent doesn't even know that life. And wouldn't you be panicking if you were Sir Criston Cole? That's the first thing Mom said. Mom was like, wow, you're putting this guy in a lot of danger, which, true. Viserys gets pissed when Otto Hightower comes to tell him about it, and he's like, say that shit with your chest. He's like, say what she did then. Don't sit here and play coy with me, say what she did. And Alicent overhears all of this. And I genuinely think that Alicent was trying to help out, but why were you coming at her so hard at first? But then we find out I've been working super hard to try and get you a match too. Why would you run and do this? But I think that Alicent Hightower is jealous because she's like, wow, you can have a life. I definitely think that part of Alicent Hightower is jealous of that. I do. And I would be too if I was her. And I like that Rhaenyra says it would be an act of treason. And she says, so you're going off of something you overheard from your dad. And it's like, it's like watching two best friends that had a falling out fight, and they do that very well. But when she swears on her mom, I'm like, oh, wow, you went there. And I didn't like, I don't know if they're trying to, like, make me care about Otto Hightower, but I don't. And so when she's like, my dad's no gossip, we totally see that she's like, I am loyal to my family. We see that Alicent Hightower is loyal to the Hightowers, not the Targaryens. Daemon versus Viserys in the throne room. We have Viserys in all black again. And Viserys, I like that her dad knows exactly who his daughter is. He doesn't try to justify it. He's like, I know something happened. And I know, he even says that to Alicent Hightower later on when Alicent's like, I don't know about Daemon, but I don't think she's being deceitful. And technically she's not. Technically she did just run around with him and have a blasty blast. It's Criston Cole she hooked up with, but a little bit more than nothing happened with your uncle. Like, let's get real now. We have Daemon fighting with Viserys in the throne room. And like I said, I do appreciate that he's like, I'm not going to deny that my daughter probably did something. I know her well enough, but you are the one I have a problem with, Daemon. And I think Daemon at one point is kind of worried about what his brother will do, but knows deep down he'll never. I think that Viserys would take out Daemon, and I think Daemon would never take out his family. But as of right now, I think Daemon realized, like, okay, you have a bit more of a backbone than I thought. I did like him straight up saying, and we find out this entire episode, at least I feel that way, that Daemon knew. Daemon knew that you were courting Rhaenyra around the town. He knew how it would look. He knew to come swooping in on his dragon, and he says to him, I want Rhaenyra. Give me Rhaenyra. We have him straight up saying, like, what do you care? By her age, me and you hit up every brothel in town. And he says, we're men. She's a girl, and straight up says it. And I like that they don't shy away from it. And he's like, I can't allow that. And like I've been saying, I will take what is mine with fire and blood. When Daemon said, who gives a fuck? I was like, thank you. That's the whole thing. You guys are perceived as above regular humans. You are closer to gods. Who gives a fuck what anybody thinks? We do what we want. You are the blood of the dragon, and Daemon is like, miss me with this bullshit. Once again, I do appreciate that there's no ignoring that they think marrying each other is so normal. Like, that's not questioned. It's always people's ages and stuff that's questioned. Marrying your family, though, for them, is not weird. So I like that he doesn't act like that's weird, but at the same time, I'm like, I get where you would be like, no, you're my brother, you're her uncle, like, it's too close to home for me. But at the same time, politically, you keep screwing up, Viserys. This would be the smartest thing to do. And that's exactly why Daemon puts on his show in front of everybody, gives up the crown, because he knows that had weight. I liked when Alicent Hightower tells King Viserys, he's like, why would he admit to that? And she goes, to reduce you, to make you look down, to make you look weak. When he says, he's like, you're already wed. He says, I'll take another wife, like Aegon the Conqueror, and he puts the knife to his throat. I don't think Daemon was expecting that. I don't. And he says, you are no conqueror. You're a plague. I really liked that. But their entire back and forth was great. Daemon saying, me and Rhaenyra will restore it. We'll redo it. He sees this plan in his head, and that's what this whole episode was about. He was putting on a show and then grooming her, and honestly, yeah, is it plotty and schemy? But it's like, he's the only one telling her what the real deal is. He's the only one not lying to her about how people really feel. I did like Alicent Hightower talking to the king, and once again, King, did you forget? We were BFFs like a few years ago, and then I started hanging out with you, remember? So it's like I kind of know her. Yet Viserys once again saying that he knows Rhaenyra isn't totally innocent, and then he goes into an explanation of the blood of the dragon. And then we learn about the dagger and the prophecy and the Lord of the Rings moment, which, okay, cool. But it ends up with a Stark. It ends up with Arya to take out the Night King. Also, this kind of makes more sense with them announcing the Jon Snow sequel, because now you can do a sequel where we focused so much on this dagger and the Song of Ice and Fire and the Prince Who Was Promised. So is the sequel now going to, this sequel that is possibly happening, is that because Jon is the Prince Who Was Promised and he's going to go and get that dagger from Arya, who's going to be getting chased by the Faceless Men, which I think could be the most plausible if that's what's happening? And is that why you have it in here so much? I like that Viserys doesn't yell at Rhaenyra about, like, I don't care. He doesn't care that she slept with somebody. He's like, that's not the thing. It's perception. It's how we have to, it's an illusion, a shadow on the wall. I don't care. I just want everything to be in unison. But then once again, you kind of messed that up and didn't allow Daemon to marry her, and things could have went better. But whatever. I understand why he didn't. But now we have her having to get married to the son of the sea snake. Now, I don't know if they're going to do the rumors, but the rumors always were that he did not like ladies, and she did her own thing on the side. And eventually, I don't want to give too much away, but yeah, so she's going to have to marry the sea snake, and the sea snake's son, to create an alliance. Now, I really am excited to see that wedding. I think that's going to be beautiful. But Rhaenyra tells her dad, if I'm going to do my duty, you're going to do yours, and you're going to get rid of Otto Hightower. And Viserys does it! I didn't think he would! He does it! And for the first time, we see that Viserys isn't stupid, and he was like, no, at my worst time, you shoved this girl at me, and now I see how calculated it was, and I don't like it, and I did like that. When he talks about whoever his grandpa or his dad dying of a burst belly, that's what happened to me. I had 4 feet of my intestines. That's how I ended up in ICU whenever I bring that up. I love when he said, you were faithful. You're not anymore. Like, I did like that, but I don't feel bad for Otto Hightower. Who feels bad for Otto Hightower? Look at that schemy-ass face. Maesters, I don't trust you. They're still doing something. They're doing sneak shit. That tea she got at the end, that's moon tea. That's a regularly known about thing in Westeros, and especially with the wildlings. Like, Ygritte says it to Jon Snow in the books like it ain't shit. He's like, well, what if this? And she's like, I'll drink moon tea. It ain't that big of a deal. But I think that Rhaenyra sees that at the end as like, oh, wow, there's an option here, and I liked that. I thought that was very well done. But still, we get a lot in this episode of, I've been talking to Old Town, Maesters, too close for comfort. Also, like, them showing that Maester give her that tea, the moon tea, that's what he says it is. Who says that's what it is? I do think that they're doing something to Viserys to kill him. I think they're doing something to the king over time to, like, poison him or something over time. I don't trust Maesters. I don't trust Hightowers. I don't feel bad for Otto Hightower losing his job. I don't feel bad for him getting kicked out. I don't feel bad. Yeah, here's my little rundown review of House of the Dragon Episode 4. I'm Abby with More City Nerds. All my stuff's down below. Thank you to the new subscribers. Hi to the new subscribers. I feel like I'm rushing through this because there's still so much I have to finish from D23, and I still have another House of the Dragon video to finish editing for you guys. But yeah, I really liked this episode a lot. I mean, the last one I think has been my favorite so far. But thank you to the new subscribers. Leave a like. It helps me out a lot. Leave a dislike. I don't mind. But yeah. I'm on OF, Instagram, all that stuff's down below, and let me know your favorite part of this episode, and let me see. This one was really heavy on, like, schemy, plotty, like I've been saying, Master of PR, Daemon Targaryen.